Think back to when you were a kid. You're coming home from a long day at elementary school, and you sit down on the couch to play your favorite video game. Maybe it's New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. Maybe it's the new Call of Duty game. For a lot of you, it's probably Minecraft. For me, there's only one game that comes to mind. Skylanders. As a kid, there was nothing quite as magical as walking down the video game aisles of Walmart. It was like Disneyland, just instead of being surrounded by depressed middle-aged people in rat costumes, you're surrounded by dragons and skeletons and little hairy dudes. You know, maybe it's not that different from Disneyland. Whatever, my point is, Skylanders took the world by storm. It felt like they were everywhere. They were showing up on every kid's wishlist, and whole YouTube channels emerged to take advantage of the next big trend. But that was years ago. It's been almost a decade since the last game released, and since then, they've slowly faded into obscurity. Still home in the minds of many of Gen Z, but never really talked about. So in light of Skylanders teasing a comeback in a new 7th game, I thought I'd play through all the old ones to see how well they hold up in the big 2.6. And by the way, I won't be playing the DS games, or the mobile games, or the Spyro games. I don't care how good they are, you can't make me. And before this video starts, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. This video is just about Spyro's Adventure, but I'm going to be making videos on all of the Skylanders games, and then one big supercut to weave them all together. Also, a huge thank you to Raposa Place for letting me use their footage. I wanted to record it all myself, but it would have been way too much storage, so they really came in clutch. They'll be linked at the top of the description, so go show them some love. And one last thing, this video is going to contain major spoilers for Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, so if you don't want to have it spoiled for you, then leave! Without further ado, let's get into it. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure was released in October of 2011? No, this can't be right. Holy shit. Well, that explains why I was getting my ass whooped as a kid. Anyways, despite what you might think, this game has like nothing to do with Spyro. In fact, I'm not even sure these are the same Spyros. Whatever. Right off the bat, we're introduced to 3 of our main characters. The floating head of Master Eon, the great portal master and leader of the Skylanders. Hugo, this little nerdy gopher guy with a crippling fear of sheep. But I don't really blame him. These guys are definitely up to something. And last but not least, the greatest pilot in all of the Skylands, Flynn, who is voiced by the one and only Patrick Warburton.
Sorry about the lint balls, Hugo, but we were able to rescue Callie.
Actually, it was the Skylander who rescued...
This is stupid. I want to talk about vaginas!
We help the Mabu escape a tornado, and then we're hit with some exposition. We're told that Eon is the last ever Portal Master, and he and the Skylanders are the protectors of the Core of Light, which is like a little beacon thing that keeps the darkness at bay. Then we meet our 2 villains. Chaos, who is voiced by the very funny Red Man.
Note to self, after I take over Skylands, come back and destroy this place!
I'd like to see you try, Chaos.
Who said that? Are you fucking...
And Glumdog.
How much bling is too much bling?
One can never have too much bling, sir.
Eon tells Chaos he has a funny looking head, so in response, he commits literal acts of terrorism. This explosion sends pieces of the Core of Light all across the Skylands, and the Skylanders themselves to Earth. As for Master Eon, he quote-unquote survived, but became a spirit. The next 3 chapters are spent rescuing Callie, a Mabu who was captured by the Drow, and Persephone, a fairy who can upgrade our Skylanders' ability, who, going into this game, I didn't remember at all. We also retrieve the Eternal Air Source, so we can finally begin our reconstruction of the Core of Light. Then we help this fish dude save his fish friends, and as a thank you, he gives us the greatest gift of all.
Oil.
Hugo oils up his telescope and uses it to find the twin spouts of Ocean Major Minor, a tool to help us get the Eternal Water Source. We set sail to Leviathan Lagoon, where we collect and use 4 statues to unlock the Eternal Water Source, but before we can reach it, we're swallowed by a huge Leviathan. Hence the name, Leviathan Lagoon. Inside we have our first boss fight, but before that, I just want to talk about a creative decision I love. This game has another Leviathan as the world border that when you swim out too far, it doesn't just kill you, but it swallows you and has a trophy in its mouth. And you have to hit its uvula to get out. Not very relevant to the story or anything, but I just thought that was pretty cool. As for the boss fight, Chaos uses the eternal water source to summon evil versions of the water Skylanders. Not including Whamshell. Sorry to all my Whamshell fans out there. After defeating Chaos, we unlock a new area of the beach where we find this broken down Robo Dude. We oil him up and he tells us to bring him some clams so we can turn them into a pearl. But instead, after we get him the clams, he just makes a bomb. Then this Mabu guy appears out of nowhere. Like seriously, we've never seen him before, and nobody mentions it. We use the bomb to blow up this wall where this little mole guy, Diggs, tells us about the Cyclopses that have taken the crystal eye. We get it back from the Cyclops and then add it to the We then go fight this giant golem, who drops the eternal Earth source, which summons this Tiki guy, Arbo. He tells us that before we can get the eternal life source, we're gonna need the seeds of life. After retrieving the seeds, we, well, plant them, and they grow into bushes. But they can't sprout any fruit because these damn sheep keep eating them! This seriously took me way longer than it should have because these damn sheep are so annoying. I say we wipe all the sheep from the Skylands. What's for dinner? Shawarma! Anyway, after we collect 15 apples, Arbo tells us the eternal life source is in an acorn. Chaos catches wind of this and immediately sets out on Operation Deforest the Skylands. As if being a terrorist wasn't bad enough, he is now an environmental terrorist. We have another boss fight, but this time it's against evil life Skylanders, not including Camo. Screw you to all my Camo fans out there. Anyways, we are now halfway done with creating the Then this guy, General Robot, yes, that's his name, shows up and tells us that the trolls have taken the golden gear. Can you guess which element these chapters are about? We meet this stupid chud Snuckles and retrieve the golden gear. We then head back on a literal rocket ship. After adding the golden gear to the we set out to rob Chaos of his glowing green goo. After adding said glowing green goo, we are told that the eternal tech source is also in possession of the trolls. We get kind of an unusual boss fight here as the trolls have used the eternal tech source to build a tank. Sadly though, this one's kinda lame. On the bright side though, the is starting to look very Suddenly, there's a rumbling from the beach. The sky goes dim and the music gets spooky. We go down to the beach and find this creepy door. It slams open and we meet T-Bone, a bouncing skull with a strange sense of humor. We put him back together and Hugo asks him if we can take his head, which he takes great offense to, but offers to help us find something similar. He takes us to the underworld, but before that, throughout the game, I've been collecting scrolls. They just give us little pieces of lore, or fun facts about the Skylanders, but I've never brought them up because they aren't terribly relevant. However, in the underworld we find one particularly interesting scroll. Eon's origin tells us that in his early days, Eon was a servant of a man named Master Natty Bumpo. Eon admits to using Natty Bumpo's own portal to, quote, possibly accidentally, unquote, teleport Natty Bumpo to the middle of the Dirt Sea. Anyway, we soon come to learn that this place is crawling with spiders, no pun intended. T-Bone abandons us out of fear and we have to get the skull mask on our own. Upon bringing the skull mask to the we get a really cool animation. Then we head out for the eternal undead source. After breaking through this castle, we are once again met with chaos. And you know the gist from here. We fight evil undead Skylanders. Except for this time, it's bullshit! Like seriously, this fight gave me way more of a run for my money than it should have. Like, this is the first time I lost a life. Anyway, we return the eternal undead source, and then Diggs shows back up. He takes us to the Molkin mines, where after the Molkin miners found the Crucible of Ages, the mines caved in on them. We save all the miners, but when we meet back with Diggs, he has somehow injured his leg, and now we have to push him back in a minecart. Now, I would be pissed about him somehow injuring his leg, except while we were rescuing the miners, he found the Crucible of Ages. So, he gets a pass. Good job, Diggs. We add the Crucible to the and then Wait a minute. Is that a fucking disco ball? Has that been there the whole time? How am I just noticing this? When did we add a disco ball to the... Whatever, man. After finding all the miners, deeper tunnels open in the mines, which leads us to the Lava Lakes Railway, where we will find our second to last eternal element source. The Fire Eternal Element Source. Ooh. We head down the train tracks until we find Glumshanks tearing up the rails ahead. Realizing we are about to run him over, and with no other plan of escape, he kills himself. We go to get the Eternal Fire Source when suddenly, chaos appears! And then we get to play my favorite game show. Can you guess what happens next? Do we A, become friends with Chaos and share an ice cream? B, jump through Chaos's magic portal and beat him up? Or C, have to fight a fiery lava version of Glumshanks? Decisions. Well, if your answer was C, you were wrong, because we have to fight evil versions of the Fire Skylanders. Who could have guessed? We'll get to my positives and complaints at the end of this video, but can you guess what the main one is? I mean, not even Chaos can quip out of it this time. He usually has other names for his minions, but when it comes to Eruptor, he literally just calls it Evil Eruptor. We add the Eternal Fire Source to the... And I'm still not over that disco ball. Anyway, the statue named Weapon Master wakes up and prepares to send us through time to the Quicksilver Vault, where we will begin our hunt for the final Eternal Element Source. But first, we must prove that we are worthy of the Quicksilver. We do a couple of laser puzzles, grab the Quicksilver, and head back to the... This level's kind of short and sweet. I don't really have much to say about it, but it helped bring me back from those mine levels I wasn't too fond of, and I even got this unicorn hat that's pretty awesome. After adding the Quicksilver to the Core of Light, Weapons Master takes us to the Archaean Armory, where we will finally retrieve the Eternal Magic Source and complete the Core of Light. As we flip on the lights in the armory, we are met with the sight of hundreds of Archaean robots. Now, it may have been years since my last Skylanders game, but you're gonna want to remember these guys. I mean, they are pretty... giant? Huh? Please don't clip this if I'm wrong. We hop in one of the robots and ride it through the armory. This part is actually really fucking cool, regardless of the use of motion controls. We even end up fighting another robot. We flip some switches and retrieve the Eternal Magic Source, and finally complete the Core of Light! And god damn it, it's beautiful! It sends light all across the Skylands, freeing it of darkness. But the game isn't over yet. Chaos is still out there, and now we're taking the fight to him. Alright everyone, buckle your seatbelts because we are officially entering the final chapter. Layer of Chaos. After beating through various enemies from throughout the game, we make our way to Chaos's castle, where he awaits us in a throne. As our fight begins, he just sends out evil versions of Skylanders. Kinda lame, right? Except it's not! Because after we defeat two of his minions, he unveils the minion that destroyed the Core of Light. His Hydra. And this thing is awesome. Well, kinda. It doesn't really do much other than use the elemental power Chaos used earlier in the game, and we do just end up fighting evil Skylanders. But I don't care, it makes it all look and feel much cooler. After a strangely long and difficult boss fight, Chaos's floating chair blows up, and he's taken back to the Core of Light, where he threatens us, letting us know that it's not over yet, and that he will return stronger. As for now though, he gets sent to Earth. And that's it. That's Skylanders, Spyro's Adventure. And if you're anything like me, you're probably thinking, what the fuck was that? Yeah, I've refrained from talking about it for most of this video, but I only remembered like 15% of this game going in. Which I guess makes sense because I was only around 5 when it came out, but holy cow, this was practically brand new to me and I was not expecting it. I think I was just mixing up a lot of the game with Skylanders Giants, which would make sense because it's my favorite Skylanders game. But just let it be known that my opinions here are like 98.3% without nostalgia bias. And with that, let's get into the positives and negatives. Starting off with the positives, despite this being a kid's game, the humor is aged surprisingly well. Nothing in this game is particularly laugh out loud funny, but I found myself constantly smiling at jokes. Flynn and Chaos in particular have a lot of great dialogue, and I think a lot of it comes from the excellent voice performances of Patrick Warburton and Richard Stephen Horvitz. I was also surprised on how much I enjoyed the Skylanders themselves. This is going to play a little bit in the negatives, but I was expecting to play mostly Trigger Happy, considering he was my favorite as a kid. But strangely, I found myself playing Slam Bam for most of the game. I also think that when the game does use the Wii's motion controls, it works pretty well. It's obviously not flawless, but it's never abhorrent. It even added a little bit of difficulty while using the robot in the Archaean Armory. But now, on to the negatives. I know I just said I like the Skylanders a lot, but I'm only talking about like half of them. I never once felt compelled to play as Lightning Rod or Zap or Voodooed. Especially not Voodooed! In particular, the Air Skylanders really got the butt end of things here. Outside of when I needed them to unlock gates, I never touched them. And even when I did, it was only Warnado. Also, the boss fights are usually pretty lame and unmemorable, especially Chaos's repetitive evil Skylander minion shtick. It was cool the first time in the Leviathan, but after that, it was mostly just on generic level relevant stages. But the Leviathan and Hydra fights, they both get passes, those were pretty cool. I also think they could have done a lot more with Flynn and Callie. After the first few missions, they just kind of sit around home base and chill. I mean, you can fly around with Flynn, and Callie has some Skylander missions for you, but they're not really all that story relevant. And my last gripe, some of you may disagree with, but I just really feel like they weren't taking full advantage of the ability to aim the Wiimote and its motion controls. As stated in my positives, the part where they did use it worked pretty well, but other than opening chests and presents, they were pretty much absent for the entire middle section of the game. But now we've come to the question this whole video was made to answer. Does Skylanders Spyro's Adventure hold up in 2026? Yeah, I'd say it does. It's not some stunning masterpiece like I wish I could say it was, and it's definitely rough around the edges. Like, really rough. But I can't act like I didn't still enjoy it. If you played these games as a kid and want to re-experience them, or just haven't played these games at all, I'd still totally encourage it. But if this video hasn't convinced you, then stay tuned, because I have a video on Skylanders Giants coming up. Just, give me another month and a half or so. As for now though, I've been BottomTierBoi, and I'll see y'all in the next video.